Let me welcome you here to Oxford Brookes. My name is Alistair Fitt and I'm the Pro-Vice-Chancellor for Research and Knowledge Exchange here. So the subject of this meeting is dear to my heart and it's great to see so many people here. I'm also conscious that I'm probably in the presence of lots of people who know a great deal more about knowledge exchange than I do, so that's fine. And I was asked just to give a few introductory remarks on the general subject of the importance of knowledge transfer, or what I tend to call knowledge exchange, because that seems to be a bit more practical, and we probably do more exchange than we do transfer. Transfer sounds a bit one way. I was asked to give just some random thoughts really to start the day off and to maybe seed a bit of thinking about the importance of knowledge exchange in UK universities and universities in general. I won't necessarily address the European aspects, but I know that that's why you're all here. And of course, a key point about Horizon 2020 is that it is possible, you may think that some of the FP4, FP5 up to FP7 were criticised by some people as being kind of too researchy and not focused enough on innovation, exploitation, commercialisation, knowledge exchange, and things like that. Whether you agree with that, of course, is very much a matter of opinion, but certainly in Horizon 2020, there, as you know, I'm sure, there are a lot of specific things to encourage all those knowledge exchange things. And I was just telling some people here before we started, I was at a very interesting breakfast meeting on Tuesday, actually with a load of biotech SMEs, where essentially they all said, A, we're very interested to get involved in Horizon 2020, but they then asked a whole load of questions that showed that they just didn't understand at all how to do it. They were saying things like, oh, I can't do European grants because Brussels will want to take all my IPR and things like that. They just didn't understand at all. So I think there's a big task to be done there. And it will be, I think, politically successful exploitation of Horizon 2020 research and results will be quite crucial to the political success or otherwise of Horizon 2020. So it is a big deal. So I thought I would just address in general for universities, what is knowledge exchange, how do we do it, why is it important to us, and how good are we at doing it? And I intend to do that in about 10 minutes. So first of all, let me just say something that's always been a bit of a paradox to me. You know, as you go through life, there are some things which everybody else seems to understand, but you just don't understand. My title, of course, is Pro-Vice-Chancellor Research and Knowledge Exchange, so I'm supposed to know all about knowledge exchange. One thing about knowledge exchange in universities and how academics view it has always bothered me, which is essentially, and I mean, I'll tell you what it is, many academics, a large proportion of academics, spend most of their time doing what they will tell you is either teaching or research. So when they're doing teaching, what do? Well, we tell students stuff in lectures, they tell us their opinions. Increasingly, we discuss things with students in small groups. We set them assignments and the students tell us what they think and what they think the answers are. We tell them maybe what we think the answers are. And, well, with PhD students, a kind of crossover in teaching and research. What happens there? Well, as you probably know, with a successful PhD project, what normally happens is at the beginning, you give out a lot of knowledge to the student and they don't understand. And if it works well, by the end, the student is giving you lots of knowledge and you probably don't understand because they've gone far more into it successfully than you can. With research, what do? We write papers and broadcast them to others via journals and all sorts of other things. We write books and we publish them or sell them. We have conferences like this where everybody gives out knowledge about all their work. And, well, we do the same thing as I just said before with PhD students. And what I've kind of never understood is that all those things I listed above involve nothing other than the exchange of knowledge. They are all knowledge exchange, but knowledge exchange for academics in universities has sort of come to mean everything that's not standard teaching and research and the things you do. And that's always puzzled me slightly. So actually, most academics and most people in university, if you say, well, what's knowledge exchange? They'll say, well, it's all these things, IPR and innovation and spin-outs and enterprise and flotation and patents and CPD, continuing professional development. And a lot of other people will say to you, the first thing they say in the UK is, oh, yeah, knowledge exchange, you mean KTPs. And of course, KTPs, that stands for Knowledge Transfer Partnership. These are very successful awards funded by, not TSB anymore, Innovate UK. Why would you change your name to that? I don't understand that. But anyway, as long as they keep giving us the money, they can call themselves what they like. And lots of people will tell you this is what knowledge exchange is. Now, KTPs, of course, they work very well. They consist in their broadest sense of academics going to sit in companies, or sometimes people from companies coming to sit in universities. We have a whole range of KTPs here at Brookes. I think we're the only people in the country that have a knowledge transfer partnership with a law firm. So it's not just industry that makes things and things like that. We have all sorts of KTPs. But the point is that really the knowledge exchange and things that are done in universities, I think, involves all of this. It's much, much wider than KTPs. And so the real issue for me about knowledge exchange is much simpler, really. And I guess I can sum it up as we do lots of research here, and nearly all universities do lots of research. And while we do this, we create knowledge and, I suppose, answer questions. When I'm doing my research, what am I doing most often? Probably answering questions. That's what I do. And so the challenge for knowledge exchange in universities is how can we transfer and exchange all this stuff that we create to, I guess the word I like best is capitalize on our research. And there are many reasons we might want to do that. It might make money, of course. It might make jobs. It might make general economic growth. Could create societal good. And what you'll often hear from the politicians is, well, all this knowledge exchange and exploitation can advance the case of what they call UK PLC. And if you're from outside the UK, PLC stands for Public Limited Company. And the politicians like to see the UK as a company that's going forward, making lots of, well, actually it doesn't make lots of profit, it makes rather a big loss at the moment, but that's another story. I think most academics would probably say, actually, I'm more interested in taking forward the case of the world PLC rather than UK PLC, because we like to think that our research is international and plays on an international stage. And I was looking at it, and it's interesting, is knowledge exchange and this sort of thing explicitly in our university strategy? And I did an experiment here of taking universities at random in the UK, seeing what I could find about their strategy on their web pages and seeing if knowledge exchange was there. And it is actually, every one I looked at, it's there. Here is what we say in our strategy. We will be a university that's committed to externally recognised world-leading research, which is exploited and disseminated for the benefit of our communities. And it actually explicitly says in our strategy we value both applied and blue skies research. And it also says, wherever appropriate, we capitalise on our research through knowledge transfer activities. And then there's also a list here about, what our research should benefit, and actually our strategic objectives. There are two. There's the smaller one there, but then The bigger one, objective 2, that I put in bigger font there, increase the exploitation and dissemination of our highest quality research and our collaboration as well, because by its nature, knowledge exchange and knowledge transfer is all about collaboration, almost always. But, as I always tell people, and here's just a random example, I'm a mathematician. I'm writing papers on this equation at the moment. I don't see any chance of changing this into commercialization or IPR or knowledge transfer. That's fine. Okay, so we do not say to people, and it's a bit like if you're from the UK, you'll know all about the REF and impact case studies. We do not say to our researchers, you can't do research in it unless it involves knowledge transfer. We do not say you can't do research in it unless it involves a REF impact case study. What we say is, if it's possible and appropriate to capitalize on the bits of research that you do, then do that as well as possible. So kind of don't lose the opportunity if the opportunity is there. But if you just want to do blue skies research, that's fine. We're not stopping you from doing that. So how do we do all this knowledge transfer and knowledge exchange? Well, you saw this before. I mean, I wrote down all those things. There's a load of experts in the room, so you could probably write down a whole load more things, and I have no time to explain all these things, and there's probably no point because you all know far more about them than I do. Anyway, but that's kind of how we do it. And I just wanted to say again, knowledge transfer and knowledge exchange in universities is so much more than just Innovate UK KTPs. And I think one thing that we've really tried to tell people is that it's only limited, that the number of things that can constitute knowledge exchange and successful knowledge transfer is only limited by your imagination, really. And we have lots of examples of innovative ways of transferring and exchanging knowledge here. And actually, I guess I would also include here engaging and transferring knowledge to the public at large as well. I mean, may not directly make any money, but might indirectly make money. Are there barriers, knowledge exchange for academics? There are some, but I would contend that most of the things I hear about why it's not appropriate for me to do knowledge exchange, actually we have already addressed and can be addressed. So that some of the things I hear is, look, I'm a university academic, I do teaching and research, that's my job. My view of that is that's fine. You can do just teaching and research and not do any knowledge transfer or knowledge exchange. You can organize it that way if you want, and we have plenty of very successful people who do that and don't engage in any of these activities, but we'd like you to be aware that there are other futures too. And I've seen a number of examples of what I would call dyed-in-the-wool academics who are at an early stage in their career kind of say, I'm only interested in teaching and research and that's all I'm ever going to do, so there, I'm never going to do any of this knowledge exchange stuff. But actually you find 10 years later their view has changed completely and they've stopped doing teaching and research and they're running a spin-out. Or something like that. So people can be imaginative, people can be malleable, and I would just say to people, never say no, just keep your options open and understand some of these things. Another thing that we hear from people is, well, okay, I'm in an academic organization, nobody ever got promoted by doing knowledge exchange, hey, it's teaching and writing REF papers that count. That's just false. I mean, for instance, at Brookes, we have a specific enterprise and knowledge exchange professorial pathway, and many other universities do as well. That's changed a lot. Another more controversial thing that certainly, I know there's many people here from other parts of Europe, certainly probably won't share our view. We actually assert the rights of all IP from all our staff and PhD students. So our view is we pay you a salary, and so any IP that you create is the university's and is not yours. Now, this is quite different in lots of other countries. I understand that. And it's just a view of how you see the transaction between us and our employees. But this can be controversial, and of course, via this policy, we're always opened up to things like, so I thought of this great idea on a Sunday. Do I work for the university on a Sunday then, or just during the week? You can imagine those sorts of discussions we have. But we do own the IP of all of our staff and PhD students, not undergraduates. They own their IP. And another thing people say to me, I don't want to do any of this, I can't make any money out of this. Well, I mean, that's just false. We have, although we assert control over ownership of IP of people, we have quite a generous rewards to inventors policy. So just so it's our IP rather than yours doesn't mean you can't make money out of it. You can make a tremendous amount of money out of it, and we have a good example. At Oxford Brookes is one of the few universities that has a single patent that earns over £1 million a year for the university, and the inventor of that earns a significant amount of money as well. And that brings its own worries. I have discussions with our board of governors, and they sometimes say to me, gosh, we've got a huge number of patents and none of them seem to be going anywhere. Can't you just choose the ones that are going to make £1 million and not maintain the rest? Well, yeah, it would be nice if things were like that. But and so in conclusion, there are some barriers, and they're fair worries, they're all reasonable points, but I think we've thought quite hard about it and we can address most of them, and I think that's the situation in most UK universities, which is good. What are the advantages of doing lots of university knowledge exchange? Well, I mean, I've just written down some there, but you'll be able to add loads yourselves. I mean, I'm sure with this audience, I'm preaching to the converted here. You all know the benefits of doing this. But I think probably the biggest benefit for me is being able to increase engagement with hundreds. Actually, we would probably say thousands of SMEs, as well as big companies, of course. And it does just seem that it would be a great waste of opportunity if one didn't try and capitalize on this value add wherever one could. So, but I'm sure you can add reasons for doing knowledge exchange in universities to that list. How good are we at doing this? Well, again, I'm only speaking for the UK, really. I just want to make one point about this, which is it's an unfortunate fact that it seems that every politician and probably everybody in Westminster and Whitehall feels they know the following fact, which is the UK is great at blue skies research, but complete rubbish at commercialisation and exploitation. And as a result, we lose billions of pounds to the USA, China, Brazil, India, whatever other country they want to say. And you will hear this all the time if you go to things at Westminster. And one of the things that I would like to say is that's just utterly wrong, okay? And I think most people are basing it on the case of the jet engine, which we did lose to the Americans. That was first patented in 1930, okay? It's quite a long time ago. But that statement that we don't commercialise well in the UK, we don't capitalise on all this knowledge exchange, is just not true at all. And there's lots of hard evidence now that it isn't true, and actually it all shows that we have been, for a good while, we've been in the top 5 in the world by almost all population-weighted metrics. And if you look at the data, you'll see that the three countries that almost invariably appear in the top 5 are the USA, the UK, and Switzerland. Okay. It's interesting about Switzerland because, of course, their participation in Horizon 2020 has, shall we say, been somewhat compromised by their recent referendum. Wonder if the same thing will happen to the referendum that's coming up here soon. Anyway, so you should, if you get the chance, tell people this. And you probably won't be able to see this. This didn't come out very well. But there are lots of reports now, and these blue boxes are just a whole load of possible population-weighted statistics for various aspects of knowledge exchange, and the blue figures are just where the UK ranks in the world. And so there's third there, sixth there, third there, first there, second there. And all those statistics, it's just all like that. We're just in the top 5 in the world. So don't let anybody tell you we can't do knowledge exchange. So I've come to the end of my time now, so I should finish. I can't stay all day, unfortunately, but I wish I could. I do think that this meeting has a very important overall aim, which is, well, really, I hope it helps people to take advantage of the things that have been hardwired into Horizon 2020 to allow us to make as much as to capitalise on all the research that's going to come out of Horizon 2020. Thank you.